something we were used to and has worked in the past. I know. I'm telling you, I've I've started more plans and ended them abruptly to start other plans. It's like trying to build a bridge from who you are and where you are today across this vast expanse, this huge sea of the unknown to the opposite shore, where you want to go and who you want to be. And in between, in this sea, it's rough. It's rough waters and heavy winds and sharks and all sorts of dangers. But you are full of enthusiasm and energy, and you start building that bridge and you get going. And at first, you're flying, you're building, and it's no problems. But then you start getting into the unknown. It starts becoming a little scary. You start feeling the fear. You start feeling the fatigue of the building. And then that's when you start saying, maybe this bridge isn't the right kind of bridge. So you quit. You stop that bridge. And you start another plan, a different goal, a different bridge, and you start building again. I must have 100 different half-built bridges and never gotten to the other side, never gotten any closer. I'll tell you a story about it's almost 20 years ago. The thing I wanted most in this world was to become an explosive ordnance disposal technician. EOD, the military's bomb squad. Everything about it was in line with my values. It was an adventure. It was dangerous, and I wasn't afraid of danger. And I wanted the adventure. It was exciting. And I would be among the elite, the 1% of the 1%, doing one of the world's most dangerous jobs. For a young guy in his 20s, that was a very exciting time. It was an exciting prospect, and I wanted it. Plus, I'd be in service to my brothers and sisters on the battlefield, saving lives, and I'd be in service of my country. It was also a very demanding and technical and challenging job, mentally and physically tough, and I wanted to be an EOD tech because of all of those things. So I had my values and I had that vision. And I set the goals, the number one goal being to get through the EOD school. Phase one being at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama. And my first challenge was literally a test, the bomb suit test. That bomb suit is about 90 pounds of Kevlar and ceramic plate. You'd have to take a test, being physically and mentally exhausted, and tested on how you are able to handle yourself inside that suit, not just on a physical fitness level, but on a mental acuity level. So I remember it so distinctly, so vividly. I showed up at the schoolhouse to take my bomb suit test. I met the instructor at the time, even though I was brand new to the school. I was a sergeant, and I met the instructor, sergeant first class, and he was kind enough, he was nice enough, but he kept a pretty placid pace. He was serious, and he said, "Follow me." And we went up to the second floor of the schoolhouse and into an empty it was an empty classroom, mostly storage, and there was a suit right there, and we started putting it on, the heavy pants and the heavy jacket. Then he put the helmet on top. And I was almost completely unrobed in this cocoon. And then he picked up the plexiglass face shield, the mask. It's inches thick. He said, once I put this mask on, your time starts. You can take the helmet off and the mask off anytime you want, but then the test is over and you will have failed. I nodded my understanding and my acceptance, and he also pointed down to my side and said, once we put the mask on and the time starts, I want you to pick that up. And I looked down there and saw it was a 155 millimeter howitzer round, fully filled with high explosives and fused. It's about 80, 90 pounds. So it's a little bit light without those, since it's a training aid in a schoolhouse. But it was still just one huge hunk of steel. So he put the mask on there, looked at his watch for the first time, which would of many during this test. And then he looked at me and kind of nodded down to the 155 round. So I picked that thing up and I did what any smart guy would do. I started to heft it up onto my shoulder. I said, no, you have to cradle that in your arms like a baby. And he demonstrated by bending his elbows at a 90-degree angle with his palms up and his fingers kind of curled toward the ceiling. He said, like this. And that's when I went from understanding that it would be a tough test to knowing this was going to be a crucible. And within a few seconds, I could already start to feel the burn. Between the bomb suit and this 155 round, I went from 185 pounds or so to around 335 pounds. The instructor just said, follow me. And he opened up the classroom door for me and we walked out. And I followed him as we walked down the hall. He opened up the fire doors to the stairwell and he said, all right, head on downstairs. Be careful. I don't want you to drop something and break anything, like the stairs. I knew he was joking, but he still maintained a straight face. So maybe not. He went from standing in front of me to going around behind me, just in case 335 pounds of Kevlar, human, and iron came crashing down the stairs. He said it was because there was a drag handle up by the collar of the suit, and if I started to topple over, he could help break me.